Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl Destiny, and today we are back with part 4, you guys, of when my crazy ex-boyfriend almost got us killed in Florida. Now, once again, that is a mouthful. I know that title was kind of like, oh my gosh, like what? But it happened. True story, okay? Now, for those of you that have not watched part 1, 2, or 3, what are you doing? Go back and watch part 1, 2, and 3. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm here for the view. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for being here to watch this video. But you're not going to understand the full dynamic of the story unless you go back and you watch those previous parts, okay? Because, you know, once again, I am very detailed. You're going to miss those very important details if you don't go back and watch those videos, okay? So just pause this video. I'll be here when you go back and watch those videos. Now, for those of you that have already watched those videos, go ahead and subscribe down below to my content. You know what I'm saying? If you're watching this right now, you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Like, don't be watching my content and not subscribed. Do not be subscribed, okay? Okay? But anyway, for those of you that have already subscribed, all right, welcome back. Hit that thumbs up like button. It helps me with my YouTube algorithm, okay? So, all right, that was a mouthful right there in itself, okay? So, quick recap. Part 1, we discussed the backstory on me getting out of my long-term relationship with X, and me meeting Q, and you know, my feelings of how the relationship was in the beginning. I also, in part 2, went over, you know, us leading up to my family trip in Orlando. And then I went over the altercation that started between him and the guy that was at Andretti, okay? And then in part 3, I discussed, you know, the aftermath after they got into it, you know, him choosing to want to go outside, you know, my family coming back to, he left us down there, us having an Uber back, coming back to my older siblings, and how that situation went, like them addressing him and all that. And then I discussed the fact that I was kind of like, I don't even want to really be on the trip no more after everything that happened. So we are on the bus heading back home, okay? So, here we go. So we're on the bus, and I told y'all that on the way from Orlando to Atlanta, we did not speak to each other at all. Like, when I tell you at all, like, I slept most of the time, to be honest with you. But, you know, I had my headphones on. I was just thinking, like, I was sleeping some of the time, but if I wasn't asleep, I was just thinking, like, what am I going to do, okay? And I felt like I didn't like the fact that he wasn't really going out of his way to try to talk to me. Like, he wasn't really trying to say sorry, plead his case, you know. He was, and mind you, he's talking to his family on the phone, telling them, like, I didn't have his back. Like, that's all he got out of that. I didn't have his back after the fact. During it and after the fact. And that bothered me, too. It was just kind of like, you just don't get it. So, we had a layover in Atlanta. So, I'm not sure if you all familiar with the bus. Like, I had never drove, like, a Greyhound or anything like that myself. But they take you to these stops or stations. And in Atlanta, they don't really have, like, a bus station, like a Greyhound station. It's just literally like a bus stop. So, like, they drop you off. And we had a 2-hour layover. So, we were just layover. So, we were just sitting there. Like, we were going to be sitting there waiting for our bus at that time. And at that point is when we started to speak to each other, because it was kind of like, we got all this time, nothing to do, it's hot. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh. So I think he ended up breaking the ice because one of the, like a food truck pulled up, and it was kind of like, you want something? One of them kind of icebreakers, I guess. And, yeah, I want something, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up going over there getting some food. And then we came back to, like, our stuff or whatever and sat down to talk. So we're finally starting to discuss things. And he's just like, I just really don't feel like we should have left. I feel like you weren't willing to stand up, you know, for our relationship to your family. He's just like, he was like, you don't trust my decisions and decision making. And I'm just like, I don't, and oh, real quick, mind you, okay, so I have my beats, right? They're like around my neck. I was on FaceTime with my best friend to where he can hear our conversations. I had it muted. He had himself muted where you couldn't hear him, but he could hear us, okay? So like, because I wanted someone to witness the crazy that I deal with, okay? But he is on the phone with me like this whole time, okay? So anyway, so we're having a conversation, and at some point he ended up leaving to call his parents because they were gonna come pick him up in Atlanta or something. I don't know. It was something dramatic that was supposed to happen. I don't remember. But he went to go make that phone call. So anytime he would step away, I'm like on the phone with just like, bitch, you heard this? Like, he's crazy. Oh my gosh. Like, and he'd be like, you need to say this, or like, something wrong with me. But anyway, so his parents were gonna come to Atlanta to get him, like, because they felt like, nah, you don't need to be with her because she don't got your bag, like, going off what he's saying. And but I think he ended up telling them like, no, we're talking now, we're good, or something like that. I don't know. So the bus ended up coming, and we actually sat by each other on the bus, and that's when we really start talking. We talked from Atlanta, which is, it's like 6-7 hours. It was 7 hours on the bus because you got to make stops in Nashville and all these different places, but we talked the whole way, and we just discussed how he could have handled things better, how to have a healthier relationship in general if we're going to continue on with this relationship. I told him how he felt, told him how I felt, he told me how he felt, kind of thing. But I still was kind of in limbo, like, I don't know, like, because it was already bad before that. You know what I'm saying? Like, not bad, but it was already been questioning this relationship anyway, okay? So, and I was in the thought process of, I ain't never had to deal with nothing like that with my ex. Like, he was, he cheated and stuff and did things like that, but he would have never put me in like a compromising position like that. That's how I'm thinking at the time. Like I would have never had to deal with that with him. Like, and that's the thing too. I feel like some people may not understand, like, after I've been with someone for a long time, like, I'm used to that. Like, you're used to that, to where this is like my first relationship after him, to where it was hard not to compare things. And then I started to kind of be like, I kind of appreciated things that X did. Like, I was starting to more like, he wouldn't know how I had like this. Like, he, would just, I don't know. Like, it was a lot. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't. I don't know. So, anywho. So, I called my brother. My brother, Rick, did not get to make the trip. I believe he went out of town somewhere else. He didn't get to make the trip. So we were going to link up whenever I got back in town. So I called him, and I didn't even want to tell him what happened on the phone. I wanted to tell him face to face, like, what happened. And he's just like, okay, so whenever you get back, we'll go meet up and go eat or something. And I was like, well, I don't know if he's going to be with me or not. I'll let you know. Kind of thing, okay? Now, most of my family is out of town, so I'm trying to figure out who's gonna pick us up from the Greyhound station or whatever. And none of my family that was in town was available, and most of my family was out of town still. So his grandmother ended up picking us up, and I had to get back to my car. So I was kind of like, I'm going to eat with my brother when we get back in town. And he's like, well, I'm going to. Like, okay. So we ended up going to meet my brother and his wife out to eat at Cheddar's. And, he was asking what happened. I told him exactly what happened. He was just like, at the end of the day, Destiny, you need to decide if, you know, is this someone that you can follow? Like, I don't even know if he said directly, like, is this to him? But, like, you need to be with someone whose decisions that you can trust. You need to be with someone who, you know, you can lead. You should be able to, even if it's blindly, be able to follow the person that you're with. Like, you know, like, and if you don't feel like you can do that, then you know, need to think about your relationship kind of thing, you know? Him and his wife was, like, telling me that. And even while we're there, like, while we're telling the story, and I'm like, yeah, he's telling me to come outside, and I just didn't want to come outside. He was like, you still wouldn't go outside? No, like, that hasn't, no, I'm not going outside. He's still saying stuff like, I can't believe she didn't. I'm looking at him. I'm not going outside. I'm not going outside. No, that's not smart. I'm not doing that. Nothing you gonna tell me is gonna make me feel like that was a smart decision to make, you know. And he would try to use this argument that he felt like we should have went outside to go to the car to leave. And it's like, you weren't even taking into consideration the fact that, you know, they could see our car and could have followed us back to the house, you know, and then that could have been a whole nother situation. Like, you know, we don't know whose car they have. That it's multiple people who, it wasn't smart. Like, even if you felt like you didn't feel safe in there, it wasn't smart to go outside when they telling you to come outside to fight. And it wasn't smart to go get in the car, even if you just circled the block. Because like I said, now they see what our car looked like. They could have followed him back to the house. It was just a whole bunch of things that he just wasn't thinking about. And it was scary to me. Like, why aren't you thinking about this? But anyway, but why are you saying all that? I'm not going outside, okay? So I left that dinner when my mom made up that I didn't want to be with him anymore. So after we left there, we went back to the house. It had been a long day, and I ended up going to sleep and like taking a nap or something. But when I woke up from my nap, I was just like, we need to talk. And I'm just like, I just can't do this. I don't trust your judgment. I don't feel like you genuinely see what you did wrong. And the fact that you don't see anything wrong with what you did shows me that you will do it again. And that is concerning to me. And I don't like that, you know. And he was just kind of like, really? Like, after all that? Like, you know, kind of thing. And I just there was nothing he could tell me, at least not that day, that was going to make me feel like we should still be together. Because, and I wasn't saying it was like going to be a forever thing. Because, you know, you could come around and mature and, you know, see the light and maybe we could come back to it. But I was just like, it's not the move. I didn't like that. So he ended up moving out. And we broke up, and that's another thing. At that time I kind of was like, I was already kind of over it, because I already felt like when he moved in, it wasn't a good decision. I already felt like I was questioning whether I wanted to be with X still. I was questioning, you know, I was questioning everything. And I just needed answers, and I couldn't get them with him there. Like, I just needed to make a decision on my own. So we broke up, and we were broken up for, I say, about like 2 months, something like that. You know, he had said he was gonna go to anger management, and, you know, working on his anger and his temper and controlling his emotions and just all that, you know. And I was like, okay, you know. And me and the ex, like, we started to kind of like hang out, and it was just a reminder, like, this is why we don't need to be together. Because with him, it's like, I was like, I'm going to be paranoid for the rest of my life when it comes to you. Even when you're doing right, you could be trying to do right. I just wasn't gonna trust him anymore, you know. So in that 2 months, I figured that out as well. But yeah, it was like, and mind you, real quick, Q made me change my phone number. Like he felt like I needed to change my number, so all the other people that I was talking to prior to him would have my number and stuff like that or whatever. Like he was very adamant about me changing my phone number. So whatever, we broke up. Like I sent my number to people. So when we got back together, it was like one of the first things he said. Like, you gave your number out to people, didn't you? Like, anyway. But so we got back together, and fast forward to, there was a day that I went to go visit my mother in Lexington, and long story short, he was mad because I drove. He wanted to drive. We talked about his driving. It's not good. It's not good. And we got into a very petty, stupid argument. And my mom was in the car with us, and he was literally arguing with me in front of my mama, like and just being disrespectful. He was, you know, my mama kind of was still trying to, you know, hey, it's gonna be okay, like calm down, like, and he's just like, no, like, you know, like he was saying stuff to her like who you tell me, like, you know, what was he saying? He was saying stuff like her relationship ain't even good, so who was she to tell him, you know, what to do or something like that. Like it was just out of line. Whatever it was out of line, you know. And my mama is super sweet, like super nice. She's never even really given her input on like my relationships and stuff, and she always liked him. And she was just like, I don't know, Destiny. Like, She's like, I ain't never said this. I ain't never inserted myself in people's relationships, but this ain't right. Like, nope, you know. And I definitely agreed with her at that time. And it was just kind of like, you ain't changed at all. Like, you know. So I ended up, my mama kind of pulled me to the side, and she was like, Destiny, I've seen this. I know this all too well. She was like, that's not the person you need to be with. And that was all it took for me with that relationship, because I wasn't about to keep doing that back and forth, breaking up, getting back together. No, I wasn't. So, and my mama lived in Lexington at that time. So, like, I had to drive back from Lexington with him after that happened. And he was straight up, and he was telling my mama while we was getting into it, like, because my mama was like, no, you leave him alone. He was like, no, we're going to go back and we're going to be just fine. We're going to go back and we're going to talk about it. We're going to be just fine. She ain't going nowhere. Like, he was so, like, he was confident that I was not going to leave him. And the whole time I'm just driving, I'm just thinking, I can't wait. He's in for a rude awakening. Came back from Lexington. As soon as he got there, go on, get your stuff. Go on, get your stuff, player. Get your stuff. Really, we about to do this? Yeah, go on, get your stuff. You know what I'm saying? We not doing this. Like, he didn't live with me again at that time, but he had stuff over there. Time to go. And he started breaking things in my house. Like, he ended up going off. I ended up having to call my brother to, you know, make sure he got his things out in one piece. You know, it was just a lot. But it was a very toxic relationship. That's all I can say. But and there was no more rekindling after that. We would, you know, we had like phone conversations after that, like, but we kind of knew it wasn't good, it wasn't healthy after that or whatever. But yeah, like that, I really believe that relationship, you know, I feel like you get a lesson from all of your relationships. I think that you always take something away from it, whether it's good or bad. And I think I took both, you know, because there were good things about my relationship with Q, you know, because I will say I never had to question if he was calling other girls, texting other girls, hanging out with other girls. Like, he was very open about me, like, being able to, you know, see things or know where he's at, look at his phone. Just, I don't know. It was there. And I wasn't used to that. That was a good thing. But he was very possessive and, I don't want to say controlling because, well, my personality, that's kind of hard to do. But I do have a submissive spirit anyway, to where if he wasn't cool with something, I wouldn't do it anyway. You know what I mean? But he definitely was a narcissist. Like, if it wasn't about him, he didn't like it. He wasn't going for it. Like I said, I didn't see my friends as often. I hung out with my friends still, but it would always be a fight. Like, I was going to do what I wanted to do, but it was always going to be a fight. Like, I knew I was going to hear about it later, But, I think that it was just, he just came into my life as a lesson, But, yeah, so that's pretty much all on Q. Like, there's not really much more to it. I haven't talked to him pretty much since probably maybe a month after. We still communicate, but I ain't talked to him. He ended up blocking my number. It was just so toxic. But like, I don't know. But then he would like unblock it and send me crazy stuff. It just was, ugh. But anyway. So, yes, that is all on Q. I will be having a live real soon. I will announce that on my social media. So stay tuned for that. I will be going live and we will discuss any questions that anyone has. There were a lot of people involved with this night. And there are things that I might have maybe not went into detail as much. Like, there may be certain things that I left out or other perspectives from people that were there, and they will be on that live and they will be addressing things and asking questions. So make sure you tune in for that, because, that was, I stretched this story out a little bit, but it was a very intense night, you guys. So, thank you all for staying with me on this story time. I know it was a long time coming, but we are done with Q. Pretty soon, we will be starting up another story time, and that will be another story time on X about this other girl that he cheated on me with, that he ended up getting pregnant as well. But he got her pregnant after we had broken up, but he was cheating on me while we were together. So stay tuned for that story time as well. That will be a very good story too. But thank you all for watching, you guys. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that thumbs up, like button for me. And also, if you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Sign in if necessary so you can subscribe to my channel, you guys. Thank you all for continue to watch my content. I will continue to deliver. And until next time, bye.